So moving on to another not so great team, although in a much better position, the Ottawa Senators. I've seen people go, DJ Smith is going to be a Jack Adams Award winner in the next 3 years. I've seen Mark Mathot tweet that this team is going to be great in 3 years, better than the Leafs, which is based on how the NHL goes, probably. Like the way the NHL goes is you've got like a 3 to 5 year window here to make it happen. And if you don't, you don't. Like, it's like, that's it. Then you got to start again. Now, right. The Leafs do have an otherworldly goal scorer in Austin Matthews, an otherworldly assist guy, Mitch Marner. Tavares will still be there, although you would think his skill would be slightly diminished at that point. William Nylander, who knows? But, the Leafs do have top-end talent where there's plenty of guys you can draft that have top-end talent. Whether or not that develops into dominant NHL playing, though, is a completely separate story. And we see it time and time and time again. Steve just mentioned Rasmus Ristolainen. That was a first overall pick? Rasmus Ristolainen?
2018? 2018.
No. Rasmus Dahlin.
Not first overall. Oh, Dahlin, sorry.
Dahlin, yeah.
Did I say Ristolainen?
You did.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, Dahlin, not
the other
Ristolainen.
Rasmus.
Yeah,
the other Rasmus.
Sorry, they have two. It's confusing.
And so listen, it's not that I don't think. I think first off, Mark Mathot knows what he's doing, and that's pissing off Leaf fans and making himself ingratiated to the market where he was beloved in Ottawa.
Yes.
Tweet makes complete sense for that reason. Good for you, Mark. And maybe he gets a broadcasting job somewhere down the line where he just shits on Leaf fans and Ottawa Senators fans go, yay. And that would be perfect. That would be a great role for him.
That would be, come on. What network? Where would he work? Like there's no local.
The Toronto Sports Network, probably. That's who carries the game.
Mark Mathot saw the recipe, which is Toronto guy goes to Vancouver and shits on the Leafs and said, what if we did that, but here? And now he's trying that in Ottawa. So I don't know if he's a Toronto guy.
The one thing that we do need to talk about is not Matt Murray.
Oh, he's not. Good for him.
Like, listen, we know Matt Murray's not good this year. We know the defense in front of him is not good, but Matt Murray's really bad, and there's 3 more years and a lot of money left on that contract, $6.25 million a year. So if Mark Mathot is to be believed, as soon as that contract expires, the Senators will be good. Now, the other thing is, this was the year that the Senators were supposed to be an elite team. This is what Eugene Melnyk said. Their plan was, remember the Borowiecki interview? This was the year that they were going to enter status.
No, he's not here anymore. Doesn't count.
Right.
He's not here anymore. So takesies backsies.
Also, you can't fault them for the Matt Murray deal because going in, it looked like a great deal. Like, I think we even said on this podcast that
there were flags, but you're right. And I was pro Matt Murray, Jesse. You're absolutely right.
I think you wanted to sign Matt Murray. Did you not, Adam?
I did. It was my coldest take in the history of cold takes.
Right. But going in, Ottawa has to overpay for someone like Matt Murray. So the number is going to be a little high, but you don't want to bet that this guy who won 2 Stanley Cups has just fallen off. You want to believe that there's still something in there and that maybe he can get his career restarted again in Ottawa. And
they did bad.
Going in and signing out, I was like, that's not a bad deal. You're Ottawa. You think you might got a number 1 goalie, but it just didn't work out.
Here's the mistake. Here's the mistake they made. Eric Engels had it so close to right because he was talking about basically they don't have any guys there to jump on grenades, right? So Borowiecki leaves town. Who jumps on the grenades? And then they go out and they try to get like a Derek Stepan and Eric and Branson, and they at least get some guys who can be vets. Matt Murray was at his best with Marc-Andre Fleury behind him. Then Tristan, his father passes, which is a huge, huge thing in his life, which we'll get to. Tristan Jarry is now the guy behind him. It's a guy his age. It's a lot different from having someone with the experience of Marc-Andre Fleury behind you. And now in Ottawa, he's got like Marcus Hogberg and like Joey Decord. I think Ottawa should have gone out and gotten a real good, not real good necessarily, but real experienced older backup for Matt Murray to lean on and ask questions and talk to just as he goes through the season. Like I was
like a Mike Smith.
Yes, honestly. Like,
It's weird to tell the guy who's won 2 Stanley Cups and played with guys like Crosby and Malkin and Letang, hey, we need to bring in a guy to get you to learn more. Like Matt Murray's 26 and been in the league and won everything. Like he should know by now. Like, and I think you expect him to know that, and you don't go into that being like, nah, we need backup for Matt Murray.
It's not even that. Learning is not linear. And I'll just be crushing it. I'll be doing great at something. And one day I don't know. I'm not feeling myself. I don't have it. And I want to talk to somebody, and it's not necessarily about like, oh, I just got something to learn. I need to talk to someone.
Yeah, they have coaching staffs and goalie coaches and head coaches, and there are.
Well, it's Ottawa. They might have one.
It might be the media, the social media guy, but still, it's not. I don't think just because Matt Murray needs to learn doesn't mean you need to go sign a backup goalie who's old.
No, but look at it this way: the Habs invested a lot of money in Carey Price, and they did something that I criticized at the time, but I think it makes more sense the more I look at it. They're like, all right, we're going to maximize this asset by getting him all the support we can get. And they go out and they get Jake Allen, who is a real good backup in this league. And we know he can't do too much more than that. He can, maybe for a few weeks to a month in a pinch, but real good backup goalie, guy you could bounce ideas off of, guy who will support you, but also a guy who will push you. Like, I think that ended up being a really good thing for them. If Matt Murray is not carrying the Sens, they got nothing. Right. They got it's unreasonable to expect Decord and Hogberg to be stealing you games night in and night out.
Yeah, but they don't have Jake Allen money. They can't spend $10 million on the goalie. They can't even spend to the salary cap. They're $16 million under because they have their own internal budget. So you're hamstrung by the situation you're in, and they took a chance.
Which brings me to this. So I referenced Jake Allen. I look at Matt Murray, and maybe he's got some sort of long-term injury that we don't know about, or maybe he's aggravated something. But what I think is more likely is, remember, Jake Allen was like real good, next big thing. And one day he did not have it. Like the Monstars went and visited a Blues game and just went, you are no longer good at being a goalie. Like he was bad. He was real bad for a while. And he went away. And he went away to get his head looked at, basically, to get his mind right. I don't remember if he went and saw a therapist or a sports psychologist or something, but it ended up being a big thing for his career and getting him back on track. And with Matt Murray, I don't see a guy who doesn't have the physical ability anymore as an athlete. I see a guy who maybe needs to take a minute and get his head right. There's no minute as the guy. Right? You can't take time off as the guy. But I just see him play, and what intrigued me is he was out there for all 7 goals. And I think the entire time he was out there, like DJ Smith is not an FU type of coach. I'm sure he wasn't like, oh, I'm going to leave him in there as a lesson. Maybe he did. I don't think so. From his time in Toronto, we learned that he was like the buffer between the players and Babcock. He was the make you feel good guy, right? So I don't think he would do that to Matt Murray. I think Matt Murray was out there looking for answers. He's trying to play through it, right? And it's not working. Playing through it is not working. Maybe it is. Like he had one real shit game against the Oilers, but he had a bunch of other like decently solid games. He had one pretty good one against the Leafs, I seem to remember. I don't know. Maybe he does just play through it, but I think it'd be nice for him to have a minute to maybe talk to somebody.
I think we're assuming a lot about Matt Murray.
I think, okay. Well, it's fair.
The other option is he's no longer good at this.
Yeah.
Right? What are the other options?
He's too young to be no longer good at this. So I would agree with you there. I would agree with you there. And listen, there's lots of players that have gone to sports psychologists, and sometimes it's not that there's something wrong; it's that you can make it more right. Right, you can tweak things, or maybe it's a goaltending coach. I mean, look at the Islanders and their goaltending coach and how he's turned the careers around of Robin Lehner and Semyon Varlamov and Thomas Greiss and all these guys that were sort of okay, but they weren't great, and then they turned them into beasts. Now, the reason I brought up the Ottawa Senators actually was not to bring up Matt Murray, and the reason, from what I have seen watching the Ottawa Senators, I don't understand. Like, DJ Smith will bench a guy. He's not a fuck you guy, but he will bench a guy. The one guy he refuses simply to bench, which I'm shocked by, is Eric Branson. And I wonder if it's just because we know what Eric Branson is, and that's what he is. But he is extra bad. He has not helped the team, in my estimation, at all. And I'm not certain that he's an NHL player anymore. That's a guy where I think if you continue to give a player like that ice time, and the amount of responsibility that Eric Branson is supposed to hold. And I understand, Eric Engel said fall guy. So maybe he's the fall guy. Eric Branson is not good enough to be the fall guy anymore. He is just, to me anyway, it's unfathomable some of the plays that he makes, if he makes them at all. And I'm not certain why he was even brought in, to be honest, other than to fill a spot as guy. It just does not make a whole lot of sense to me. It's like teams that signed Jack Johnson, same thing. I don't get it. It's these guys that were drafted high, either the game has passed them by, their skills are no longer relevant, or they're diminished, and they're getting by on reputation alone. The numbers for Eric Branson do not support the amount of ice time he gets, even in Ottawa. And I'm surprised that DJ Smith, of all the guys that he's not hard on, it's Eric Branson. This guy, if you're wanting your players to learn, if you're wanting your players to absorb information from a vet, is that the guy?
It's a good point you're bringing up. I wonder, defenders are able to do things that other players can't, right? I think a lot of players, Adam, you can help me out with this. Like, I think a lot of players when they're younger are made defenders just because they're one of the better players on the team.
Yeah, they can skate. or you can shoot and they make you a forward.
There you go. So I wonder, is there a potential career path here for a guy like Eric Branson to be part of Ottawa's bottom six? Like, is he an NHL defender anymore?
No,
probably not. Can he skate on an NHL team? I'm willing to bet he can. Willing to bet he can. Like, I'm surprised that doesn't happen more. Like, just guys who are, they're clearly good hockey players, but maybe not the best defenders in the world. Make him a forward. Think of all the guys you've been like, let's give him a shot on the fourth line by calling him up from the minors. Why don't you do that with defenders who are already on your team? What's confused me about the few times the Leafs have played 11 forward 7D is they never once were like, all right, who's the fourth line? Boyd, Spezza, and Dermott over the boards. Like, I'd be interested to see it. And if you got a guy there to speak to the officials, to be a voice on the bench, and
who's
to
playing less than 10 minutes a night,
who's playing less than 10 minutes, why not have him on the fourth line?
I don't disagree.
I'm just trying to get creative, spitball.
Yeah. And I know Brannstrom's kind of fallen out of favor there, but it's sort of like he can't be worse than what Goodbranson is, right?
You'd have to.
I mean, that's a guy that you traded for Mark. You traded Mark Stone for him. Make it work.
Yeah.
If DJ Smith doesn't like him, well, DJ, man, you better start taking him out for dates because you're going to have to like him. This is the Ottawa Senators market. This is not the Toronto Maple Leafs market where you can still buy your way out of certain problems. I'm shocked by that. All the reports I read on that where it's like, well, he's just maybe not a fan. You can't afford not to be a fan, DJ Smith. You cannot afford to make this player not work. Make him work.
I'm looking at his AHL numbers and even actually his Swiss League numbers from this year. Mm-hmm. He had 8 points in 10 games in Switzerland, and he had 23 in 27 last year with Belleville. I would love to know how much of that was on the power play. And I think a big thing that a lot of offensive defensemen go through when they first join the league is some of them get the opportunity and a lot of them don't, though. You know, we saw it with Tyson Barrie. Like, they forced the square peg into a round hole there by putting him on the number one power play. They did not have to do that. They did that as a favor to him, right? Because Morgan Rielly is right there. With Brandstrom, I mean, Thomas Chabot's there forever and ever, amen, is he not? Like, at best, I'm going to get second.
Yeah. Yep.
It's interesting.